This is Melissa with Messy Missy Creates and Grows, or in this case, freezes and dies. I am in the north part of Florida, in the northwest Florida panhandle. And, well, like everybody else across the country, we had a abnormal freeze right before Christmas and during Christmas. It froze solid for about 4 days, which is unusual here. Usually when we have a freeze, even a hard freeze, most of the time it will thaw out by the next day. And in this case, it stayed solid frozen. The ground stayed frozen solid for 4 days. And, there's just some things that even plants that we normally can grow in the winter here, there's just things that they would, sometimes can't withstand. So it got to about 18, which is very unusual for here, with a wind chill of single digits, I think, or at least 9 or 10. And, normally we would grow broccoli and collards and celery and peas in the fall and winter, which other people in the country grow them in the spring, but the spring is just too hot here to grow those typically. You can get them to grow, but they bolt really fast. And so usually fall and winter is our peaceful time to grow, but these broccoli actually had already been attacked by squirrels at Thanksgiving when we were out of town, and we actually have pictures of them just feasting on them. They ate the heads off, what heads had started, and they ate a lot of the leaves and everything. So these broccoli were already struggling, and but I was able right before the freeze to go out and harvest what few heads we had and the florets, but it was mostly just the little florets. So I will come in and clean this up and trim up some things, and most of these are going to have to be replaced, which is fine. I have a greenhouse, and I have some backup plants, backup collards and broccoli and things like that. So it's not a total loss, but sometimes you just got to show the good, bad, and the ugly, and in this case, the thawed out and mushy part of the garden life, right? Was celery. I trimmed off the mushy parts. I had harvested a good bit of it right before it froze, and just to salvage what I could out of it. Well, here's the collards. They fared the best. Those were some turnips. Doesn't look terminal, but they don't look good. These are doing okay. They're getting a lot of water today, and then it'll rain and be warm the next few days. So here's some more celery. And these are almost always in the shade, so I don't, this time of the year, so I don't have high hopes for them. Here's another bed that used to be broccoli. That used to be broccoli, and that used to be broccoli, but the squirrels ate it while we were out of town. Squirrels and maybe a possum, I don't know. Anybody know about a broccoli eating possum? We did catch a possum, so we know we had a possum. But these are collards. These are all flash collards. They're supposed to be, usually we have to worry about the high temps, and these are a good heat tolerant collard. But which is what I've grown. I grew it last year and it was great. Usually we have to worry about things like that bolting, not freezing. We've had to put this little netting around because I tried 3 different times to plant seed carrots in this bed, and squirrels kept digging it, planting nuts here. We have pecan trees right around here, so. But I was really surprised to see the carrot tops do this. I'm hoping that these were some of them could have been harvested. There's a little, man, that ground is just as cold as it can be. This doesn't get a whole lot of sun either, this bed. These 3 beds actually. Now those over there are in the sun, but it just, it goes from lush and green to mush and greenish overnight. Actually, it took 4 nights. We came out and, let's see, the 3rd day of the freeze, we had a few things standing, parsley and things like that. And then that 4th day, it just did them in, so the ground froze, and it almost never freezes here in Florida. These are, let's see, these are strawberry green stalks with strawberries. We did cover these because they were, I was a little concerned because even you can lose them with frozen ground. And anyway, that was a lemon grass. This used to be pineapple sage. This is my perennial herb garden right here. It doesn't look so perennial right now, but that's pretty much it. The rosemary is good. The sage was fine. This is another strawberry, a green stalk with strawberries in it. These are in the sun the majority of the year. You can see that we had berries. Let me go find these. Now they're mush berries. They weren't ripe enough to pick before it froze, so I didn't bother. We covered them just because this would have been the most expensive thing for me to replace, because I have probably 200 strawberry plants. But these are, they were frozen solid, but they would have been beautiful. They were pure white. If they'd had any blush on them, we would have picked them beforehand. But you can see they were a little late getting out their little fall strawberry, or their berries on them, so we missed out on that. But this is my lettuce mush bed. See, you can see this is fantail spinach, and you can see we had like 2 weeks of 80 degrees between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I had just planted these and they were already starting to bolt. Spinach is very hard to grow here because of the heat and the inconsistent temperatures, but this is regular spinach, and it looks like it did okay. Now, it was under some of this rainbow chard that was leaning this way. This is still trying to be parsley. I'm really just going through here and seeing if I can cut off some of these mush leaves. See, like in here, I'm not pulling these plants yet because they're still green right there out of the center. And you can cut all these all you want, the outer leaves. And I did cut a good chunk of them before, before it froze. But the lettuce I think is done. But I'm gonna clean this up and just make sure that none of these soggy leaves are laying on something that's blocking sun or whatever. But I think I might be able to salvage a few. Here's another spinach that looks a little more wilty. But see, look, here's some hope. And this celery actually did okay, but see, it was shielded a little bit by this rainbow chard was like up to here, and the lettuce, this is romaine and butter crunch and whatever, and it actually was about at the end of its time anyway because of the heat. Oh look, there's another celery. The celery that I had in pots, after the first day I saw that the ones in the bed were frozen. These are up against the side of the house. Let's see. This is normally my 8-foot salad bowl. And it's, well, it had already gotten taken over by that chickweed, and it didn't freeze. It's the only thing that didn't freeze. But there was lettuce in here. Anyway, spinach, that did okay. This poor little sage back here, I should have thought to cover it. And that's lemon thyme and some more curly parsley. And it'll be okay. I think I'm gonna come through here and pull all of this and start over with the lettuce. The only thing is right now, this time of the year, it only gets very brief sun early in the morning, which normally for here, for lettuce, that's a good thing. But it's not great for germinating. Okay, here is what I'm calling a ladybug lookalike, and I cannot remember. I looked it up and found out it's not a good guy. It's not a ladybug, it's an orange. It ate all of my squash and cucumbers and all of that last year. This was a lemon balm, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, see the green under there? So I'm going to trim this all back, and it'll come back. It just, you lose the leaves that are on there, and it got colder the first night before I got to pick it off. It got colder than I thought, and so it was already burnt, so I picked off what wasn't burnt, and you know, making some teas and stuff like that. But see, that's all you need for a little sign of hope. And so don't cut your plants too soon, don't pull them too soon. But like I said, this lettuce, because it was already, you can see when it starts getting that tall. I mean, these were way tall and they're leaning over. Yeah, I think they're done. Oh, there's another one of those. See the eyes on it? Anybody know what that is? It's got creepy eyes. Wow. If anybody knows what that is, please let me know. This is where I had, next to this 8-foot salad bowl bed, this is what we call the stadium, and this looks so awful. But after the first night that I saw that some of the celery in the raised beds out in the garden froze, this is where I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 plants, celery plants in pots. And so we stuck them in the greenhouse, and they're doing great. They look just as good as they did. Just as good as they did. Now, we ran heaters in the greenhouse. There's my greenhouse walker. I'm filming this using my cane. I'm walking outside with my cane now. This poor green, these green stalks are more in the shade. We have 2 that are in the sun and 2 that are that get more shade, which is great for lettuce. And this celery, we did cover these too. This celery survived. I think it'll live. Will you live? Yes. Down here were beans, and they were just putting off pods when it froze. So, oh well, I didn't get any. Rainbow shards. Yep, but I see life inside there. Isn't that pretty? Bless its little heart. This was red romaine. It was pretty. But I had sugar snap peas all in the top, and I was letting them grow down, and I thought that they would withstand, I don't know, at least down to 20, but they sure look puny. But I don't think I gave them, I don't think they were wet enough. And then this was just a big, it was some kind of head lettuce, like a whatever variety. But, rainbow shard. This just looks pathetic. And mushy lettuce. So, I haven't even started cleaning up. This garden looks like it's been abandoned for years. But that was all romaine, that was mint. The only green stuff in here is chickweed. This was it was sweet mint. Now, those roots in there, it'll come back, I would imagine. So I'll clean it up. I'm not going to pull the plant, but I'll cut it. This is another green stalk. These 2 are right by the porch. Kind of my kitchen garden. The one thing that I thought was going to freeze right off the bat was oregano. And because I thought I had lost an oregano to a freeze, a whole lot less freeze than what we got. So I don't know if that's because it was just under the porch. Oh, well, we did have these covered too, but then they might have gotten some heat off the house. But, and this parsley, see, this looks great. It doesn't even look touched. These are some onions. They look pretty pitiful. I've been getting the seeds off of them. Onions or chives or whatever they are. But, this is certainly not a pretty garden tour. This is an ugly, but I just wanted to mainly record it for my my use. This is thyme. It looks fine. Thyme is really hardy. These were emerald oak lettuce. Was not that fond of them, so it didn't break my heart too bad. I had a hard time with the thought of pulling something that was still growing and thriving. So now it doesn't hurt my feelings to pull it. I've got backup stuff in the greenhouse. So yeah, that's pretty okay. Now this oregano did get burnt, so it must have been on that side, not up against the house, because this did get. Now I gave it a big haircut. It was draped all the way down to here, so you can see that part burnt. That's still good. I shouldn't have even worried about losing it totally, because it has taken over. It's popping out. Like this one up here is growing all into the other layers. I was pulling some stuff out of the greenhouse a minute ago. These are some collards that I didn't plant. They need some nutrients. And these are some onions that I didn't have a chance to plant, and some broccoli. And buddy, they are covered in aphids. They've been in the greenhouse. I was brushing some off. And then a little birdie, because we have our little bird sanctuary back here. And next to our compost pile. They love the compost. But had a little bird sitting here. He was one of them was in the broccoli, one of them was in the collards, and they were just pecking at the bugs. So I stopped. I was gonna hose them down, because that'll get the aphids off sometimes. But anyway, so okay, let's go look in the greenhouse. It's full. And this time of the year, it's always so full and messy, because this is where we just throw anything in pots and peppers and plants. But these are some lettuces, and see how big these are getting in these little 3-inch pots. So now I didn't have anywhere to plant them before. I was giving some of them away. Here's more celery. That's a little mulberry bush that I bought from a homesteader event. Okay, see, I have a backup sage, and some more. This is like a all-season lettuce. I think it's a head type lettuce, but I've got more celery, more chard. Oh, this is my mojito mint, and some really puny one broccoli. There's a couple more. There's a little black-eyed Susans that I started from seed. I'm sure they're not supposed to be started from seed in the fall, but I have a greenhouse. I can do it. Those are some pepper plants that they were little volunteers that I dug out of the garden earlier in the fall. But I tried to, I had to move something so I could walk in here. Yeah, that's an orange tree. It's mandarin tree, and then there's, you see the lemon back there. And then this is just a variety of, but see the peppers? They've got blooms on them. We were able to keep it, above freezing in here with a heater and heat lamps. Yeah, that's more lemon balm, thank goodness. Lavender, this was the strawberry doctor hospital, whatever. And where I propagate stuff. But anyway, this was where I put some of my sweet potatoes down in some dry dirt. And, well, you see all my mess, but back there I've got some potatoes that I put in. I made sure the dirt was really dry. And, trying to save them for seed potatoes for next year. So yeah, this is a hot mess. Oh, my other big aloe that was on the back porch, it froze solid. So anyway, this is, oh, normally I can't see what's on that top shelf without pulling it down, but actually the camera helps me to see that. That's all lettuce of some sort. But yeah, see the aphids, good grief. I need some ladybugs in here. Usually I have frogs, well, in the springtime I do. I have frogs and lizards and, yeah, frogs and lizards aplenty, but they must be hibernating. And then here's plenty more celery, so. Oh, and plenty more aphids, good grief. Need that little bird to come in here and eat all my aphids. Okay, alrighty, well, I will try to shoot an after video. Well, that was after frost. I should have done a before frost video. But get all the garden cleaned up and this cleaned up in here, and see what it looks like. Oh, this was some bee balm that I dug up out of the perennial bed and repotted it in here. I had started some more chamomile. And everything is chickweed in it. Everything. I was hoping to have, I love my herbal teas. And I've grown some in here, but I wanted to keep them alive, but I really wanted to have some flourishing herbs, like, you know, in bigger pots. And these are some different types of mint that I propagated earlier. They're so plush. So everything in here looks great. So I just need to get them in bigger pots and I can have some tea. Alrighty. Yep, and here's the other mess. Blech. Time to clean. Here's my little birdie friend back to eating aphids. This is the part of the garden that's on the other side of our house. This was the original garden space. And this is me walking, using my cane for the first time outside in my garden. I'm having to do a voiceover here because the road noise was so loud, but this is my carrot bed that, they are all, the tops, they're pretty tiny, but they're all laid over, or they were. They look like they're starting to stand back up. And then my potato experiment, I was unable to get potatoes in the fall batch of potatoes in the ground. And so I did this really late, but when we harvested our sweet potatoes, we had potatoes volunteering. And so we saw the little plant, so I thought I would just go ahead and add the potatoes to it, and that bed was easy enough to cover that I thought that, you know, any light freeze or whatever that we normally would get, they would survive, but I, you know, didn't expect this kind of freeze. So anyway, but hey, you know, that's why it's called an experiment, right? Over here, I guess last but definitely not least, I don't know if you can see the 4 elevated strawberry beds. These are some that my husband built for me so that I could get to them easier. They're about waist high. And I think I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. Not all with strawberries in them, but some with my lettuce beds over there that I showed you earlier. And as far as adaptive gardening, and I probably will talk more about that, because after I was, I already had some health issues that sometimes prevented me from getting down on the ground a little bit at times. So he had already started building me some of these, and then last year when I was paralyzed, that obviously made it even more difficult. So at least these beds I could get and sit once I could get outside with my walker, and I could get out here and at least do a little bit of something. But these are the strawberries, and we did cover these too. We have some out in the regular beds and another one of these out in the main garden that we did not cover. We kind of were doing an experiment, and honestly ran out of covers, ran out of time. And they all fared well, covered or not. I was really surprised because you can see, even though this bed is deep, it's about 10, I think those are 5.5, 6-inch boards. So they're anywhere from 10 to 12 inches deep of soil, which is plenty for strawberries and many other things. But, I thought the soil did freeze, but anyway, they did pretty well. Don't mind the dead marigold in the hanging pot there. And for some reason, this bed, chickweed, I don't know if it's a problem where you are, but here it is everywhere, and it survives everything, apparently. So, pretty sure come, some nuclear whatever, we're going to end up having chickweed and cockroaches or palmetto bugs or whatever down here in Florida. But anyway, I'm going to sign off here, and then start, cleaning up a little bit, and then reassess the damage. I've already started, trimming off some of the dead stuff and seeing what will come back. But, and then we're going to replant. I've been going through the greenhouse, seeing what I have, and bringing it out little by little, and seeing what we can get to grow for the rest of the winter. They're already, sizable plants, so I might as well plant them at this point. Mostly collards and broccoli, and a few lettuce. So I've also got a green stalk, another one, which will be my 5th one. And I got it at Christmas, and I'm going to put that in the greenhouse. So we're going to get it set up and have it in the greenhouse over the rest of the winter. So, alrighty, well, I will show you any progress, and talk to you soon. Bye.